Hello everyone. As we are approaching with our prelims preparation for 2020, we are now extending our study further to make better comprehension of nature of questions and also what is the way it can be covered precisely to make me crack this examination. Now for that, this particular video is dedicated towards making us understand the general nature of questions and the weightage, the relativity of the weightage that we correlate with them. So targeting our prelims examinations, prelim 2020, we are focusing on the map-based questions for the last few videos. And when we take the reference of map-based questions, there is important requirement of us to be aware of logical sequence with which the map items are designed or map items develop their prominence. So I want to just take this opportunity to make you understand how we should proceed with something more dedicated towards our orientation of geography focused syllabus of prelims. If I have to start with why we are orienting this program, so as I have always maintained, and I'll be showing you one graphical representation of it also, Prelims 2020 makes a continuation of what has been always the dynamic aspect of this examination. What do I mean by that? That when I need to develop the capacity to crack this examination, I need to have a very dedicated strategy and the study material. And that is what we are approaching. We have to take NCERTs to our stride. And basically the older version of NCERT is what is more fulfilling compared to the comparatively new printed NCERTs. Specifically in terms of what I say, map-based question or regional approach of question. So you need to take that understanding. That is the reason we have dedicated this program to make myself clear and comfortable with all the fundamentals of geography and thereby proceeding towards the reference of approach of development beyond. In this program, we will be taking the coverage of syllabus into these 5 categories. And if you have to take mention of these 5 categories, I have already taken a few specified lectures and you must have noticed them in your videos. Physical geography as NCERT based is important from the 11th and 12th class NCERTs, which are significant from the reference of our syllabus requirement. Absolutely hardcore orientation of fundamentals of geography is not desired, but the basic understanding, and that is very important. The basic understanding of important aspects of geography in sense of rock types, which I dedicated a video towards, in terms of understanding the characteristics of basic atmospheric temperature and anomaly. So after dealing with that, the next thing that I want to do is map-based questions, and for which we have already attempted. In the map-based studies, we have already taken North America in our study. We have picked up South America in our study. We have also taken the study of continent of Africa. And the last one that I uploaded was on continent of Europe. After this video, I will be adding map of Asia into our study. But what I am emphasizing is that we have got all of these coverage based on the old NCERTs. The concise version of the information that you should download from the website, I'll be giving you the details. Now, having said these 2 topics as our coverage right now, we'll be taking the reference of human geography, environment geography and Indian geography in the sequence as the coverage of geography in our prelims examination. As I already insisted, the basic purpose of this program is to completely cover all the region based questions that are map based questions that is significantly gaining importance in examination. And the nature of the questions that we see as map-based questions is continuously becoming both with what is referred as static items. Say, for example, I say, which are the rivers that are making international boundary? Let me use this term, transboundary water. Now, transboundary water is very commonly used expressions in our contemporary references, newspapers you must be coming across. Transboundary water can be river, can be aquifers, and also can be lakes. And mind it, this is something that is static. If I say that a particular river or a lake is making boundary between two countries, it's static. But there can be certain city which has come up into the newspaper because of the important development. The region that can come up in newspaper because of certain important development. Like right now we are experiencing continuous coverage of Wuhan because of coronavirus. So Wuhan, its location, or the other associated factors which are very important. So why I am emphasizing on old NCERTs, because old NCERTs gives us the most detailed regional perspective of the study, and it is actually divided as southern continents. It was in the older 6th class NCERT. Northern continents, it was in 7th class NCERT, and Asia is dedicated in the 8th class NCERT. So we have organized our content matter to cover up this part very clearly. I now want you to carefully see the defined images of NCERTs. That is a must for you to refer. Normally we focus on our study of India physical environment. Yes, without any doubt, this is an important text. Fundamentals of human geography, this is also significantly important. And then we have got certain standard textbooks of the classes that are 6th, 7th and 8th that you must take into account. Our environment, land and people, the earth and our environment are very important factors that you should take on. And do not miss to see the atlas that I emphasize very strongly for your general studies preparation is Orient Black Swan School Atlas. You must be noticing it. And these are the texts that we are developing for you to make the understanding of. The two sample texts have been shown in this image. World Regional, NCERT based, it is now available for you to download from your portal. And also that we have got the availability of environment, that is NCERT based text. Commonly referred text, of course, as I said, human geography, India physical environment, India people and economy, they continue to have their prominence. Our environment, understanding environment are the important texts that you should further follow. And it is basically the concise version of all these that has been approached in the material that we have created, absolutely exclusively oriented towards prelims examination. Now, talking about map based questions, if we quickly take the questions that have been asked in examination to proceed with our understanding, sample understanding of the features. I have compiled up questions coming up in examination from year 2008. If you try to see the questions, and all these questions I am insisting are static map based questions. The static map based questions are not a single day preparation. Remind yourself of this on daily basis. Now the question which is asking me to recognize, there are countries given to me which is Ukraine, Romania, Belarus, and I need to identify which are the countries that shares boundary with Moldova. We have already taken a video to understand continent of Europe. You are aware of the fact that Moldova is a small country in east central part of Europe. It is a landlocked country which shares its international boundary. Among the given choices of the country, it shares its international boundary with Ukraine and Romania. And that is the reason if I have to take up the answer, I'll easily select 2. Do get into the video that I have uploaded of this continent. It is not difficult for you to solve this type of question. Another question that comes from Europe, we have covered this continent, so jumping on to that question. Which of the following Malta is located? Now Malta is an island state which is located in Mediterranean Sea. Immediate south of Sicily Island, if you have gone through the video that I have uploaded already. Continuing on with the same type, now we have got different continents that have been covered. In year 2008, you can notice there were 3 questions that were asked. And if I get year 2009, because these continents also we have taken into reference, and the question is asking me to identify Tropic of Capricorn, and I insisted it. I have covered up 3 continents in our study, 4 continents actually, and you should take reference of these continents cautiously. Now the question is saying, Tropic of Capricorn is passing via. Tropic of Capricorn means I am in southern hemisphere, 23.5 degrees south. And if I have to select the countries via which this particular latitude passes by, and the choices given to me apply, we have taken the understanding of it in our study of continent of Africa. Yes, Namibia, we do see Tropic of Cancer passing by. Then I have got 2 countries given to us in South American land area. So if I take Tropic of Capricorn and pick up, yes, Brazil is where Tropic of Capricorn passes by, and the another country that is given to us is Chile. So yes, we do see Tropic of Capricorn passing by these 3 countries. And if we have to continue to take up the reference of Australia, we have not covered Oceania in our study as such. But I think it is manageable, southern hemisphere. Answer to this question will be all the 4. Notice almost every. I have got cities given with river. You have to find which of the pairs are correct or not correct. Geographical feature, Great Victoria Desert, Great Grand Canyon. Grand Canyon is with entrenched meander. I talked about it. We have covered that in our study of map of North America. Lake Winnipeg, Southern Alps. Southern Alps are young fold mountains. So if you take a comparison, 2008 and 9 is there in front of you. Which type of questions have been there? Absolutely static. If I ask you to see the another question that has been asked, it is like we need to take the understanding of something dynamic also. Notice Cape Canaveral. From which the space shuttles are launched. You have to take this as a dynamic part of question, and whenever dynamic part of question comes in, they are largely from the newspapers, the places that comes up in the news. Which of the following can one cross if one travels through Strait of Malacca? Strait of Malacca very clearly is the transitional strait. Please remind yourself, we have covered part of Asian approach of study just randomly. We have not taken complete details of it. So if I have to cross Strait of Malacca, the choices that are given because if you see Bali or Brunei, you are largely away from it. Java is not as associated with it. Singapore, enter port. I don't believe in for us to take into reference the asked questions precisely to justify how do I make my preparation strategies complete or define. You actually need to understand that these places are to be taken as something which is conventional. I am preparing something about a location, so I should be aware of it. Golan Heights. Which of the countries in Southwest Asia do not open out to Mediterranean Sea? Do not open out, we are talking about landlocked countries. Or the countries that do not share shoreline with the given sea. That has been asked here, Mediterranean Sea. And to 2015 we had the question on Mediterranean Sea, and 2017 again we had the question. Mediterranean Sea is border with which of the following countries? Now if you take the countries given to us, I have not covered continent of Asia, so I will not insist much on this here. But I think we are in the position of taking references of many items that have been there. Atlas Mountains, Northwest Africa, Okavango. Is it in Patagonia? No, it is not. Okavango was in Botswana. We encountered it in our study. Guiana Highlands are in northern South America. So you can possibly take the references of these as prominent examples of solving. Turkey, the country of two continents, we have not taken Asia, I am continuously repeating it, but it is located between is asked. So it is located between, I have got northern shoreline of Turkey with Black Sea and western and southern shoreline with Mediterranean Sea. In the last 2 years of prelims examination, the nature of questions have been comparatively dynamic. If you try to see the nature of questions, these are dynamic items because they were covered one way or the other in newspapers. Which one of the following has shrunk immensely, dried up in recent past due to human activity? And when I take dried up majorly, it's Aral Sea. Aral Sea is with Amu and Sirdaria. Again the question comes in towns and why it was in news, and the towns which were in news and the countries whether they are correctly paired or not. You can read the next question is also reading the same. Regions have been in news and which country they belong to. In 2019, a question that has been asked was more static one, and this question we precisely can take into our stride because we have taken the coverage of few continents which is not completely covered, but a major part can be seen in this question. So can we notice that we have been asked Adriatic Sea and Albania. Can we recall that Adriatic Sea is correlated with Italian border with Balkan Peninsula? Similarly, we have taken Black Sea. Black Sea is identified very clearly with, we have taken it with Turkey, we know Romania, Bulgaria and Lindius River. Mediterranean Sea with Morocco. Morocco and Tunisia are the countries in Africa that has got its shoreline with Mediterranean Sea. And Kazakhstan with Caspian Sea. When we take these type of questions, it is like I am in the position of managing them. If I am consistent with the basic references of the items that are being asked. Now kindly see that a general trend, if I try to justify, the topics that we cover with our curriculum includes physical geography, world and Indian map geography, social economic geography and environment climate. On an average, maximum weightage has been there to environment, climate and of course biodiversity, ecology that has been mentioned in the syllabus. And in physical geography, we are noticing least weightage or least share of the questions in the last few years. I'll be showing you a detailed analysis of it again. But I very sincerely believe that when you have reached the bottom, there is fair chance of rising. So you don't give yourself a reason that the physical part of geography can be skipped because the number of the questions that is coming up from this particular section has been on a lump low. You cannot, you don't have, it is not in our favor. So it is always advisable to do justice with the physical part of geography that we have discussed sufficiently, so I don't want to get into the details of that in this particular video. If I have to enlarge on the question trends, which I just said, physical, we are not having much of the reference of the questions coming in. But then what is geography? You need to understand that geographical content correlate to precisely everything around you. And that is the reason when we take reference of our preparation for geography, on an average, I am taking it from 2008, 30 out of 100 questions are coming up from the perspective of geography. And the questions can be demarcated as a dynamic and static nature of question. If the nature of the question is static, you know that once I am done with it, I have prepared it, it will not give me much trouble altogether. But if it is dynamic, which is quite majorly always on the updation, you need to take reference of what should be my focus in the preparation of it. Like I take environmental issues. If I am taking environmental issues and I am trying to justify what are the important government schemes, so I am relating government schemes with as an umbrella term because it can correlate it to environmental issues. And if I have to take those environmental issues and thereby the references, then what are the important schemes that I take up with environmental programs, world and India? That can be a clear question point. So anything that comes up. I can divide my study into the categories of Forest Conservation Act, pollution abatement, Wildlife Protection Act, very important, wetlands dedicated to Central Asian flyway is important for us to pick up. And if I go very specific with the reference of the programs, government policy related to environment. So India is part and parcel of all the major global convention, isn't it? And I don't stop here. Basically, when I need to take into reference the government schemes, I have to understand that all these specific government policies like fly ash, nitrogen fertilizer, I am talking about neem coated urea, program of SUFFER, that goes with Central Pollution Control Board, air quality indexes, Compensatory Afforestation Management and Planning Fund Provisions 2016. Mobilization of methane hydrates. Indian agenda on the solar energy. You cannot stop. You basically, and what exactly is the point that you need to comprehend here? Is that these programs and policies don't come up into a single block. If I'm talking about environmental issues, I'm correlating it with economic aspect also. New steel policy talks about electric furnaces, and this basically comes up into the reference of what? Charter on Corporate Responsibility on Environmental Pollution and Comprehensive Environment Pollution Index. I cannot be aloof of it. Ecology can be considered to be something static. I'll talk about it later. Organizations, if you take into account, you will not say that it is absolutely aloof of geography or geographical domain. But if I take the reference of organizations and the part of geography that is correlated, so something that we can correlate with our economic aspect, India backing out from RCEP negotiations, or we take the account of organizations that is somewhere correlated to the geopolitical or economic aspects of the country, whether it is relating to trade or whether it is relating to any sort of fund transfer or technology transfer. If further emphasized, the questions that we are getting from hardcore ecology, I'll be talking about it later. We have developed a compulsion to read 12th class biology text. In spite of the fact that when I read the syllabus, I'll be taking you there also. It very clearly says we don't require anything as specialization in the content matter. But I need to be aware of what is called regulate, what is called conform, randomly picking up what is the difference between two types of niche, fundamental niche and realized niche. I cannot answer these questions if I am not aware of the basics that goes with the content matter here. You need to be aware of them. So in order to solve this 30 question, you need to be aware of dynamic as well as static part. Static part is once done, only require revision. But dynamic part is always built over static one. Because if you take them as random 1, 2, 3, 4, then it never solves the purpose. Weightage I have been talking about, and carefully see that we have organized it with economy that can by default cover the socio-economic part that we take in our study of geography as well. So that is the reason I said the most consistent block that I see in the question paper which we correlate with our study. Environment, it is inclusive of ecology, climate change and biodiversity. If you try to see, the most consistent player is this. And if I take the geography, hardcore geography, which is physical geography, including part of India there, I am noticing there is a significant decline. And if I take that socio-economic part, which is largely correlated with programs and policies, which I just gave you a brief mention of, there is increase. Fluctuating increase I can say, but there is increase. So if you try to notice, if I go back to the reference of weightage point. We are believing that from the topics that we cover, that is geography, physical India, economy, social and environment, we are actually scoping to have 30 plus questions in our preparation. So automatically this program makes an importance in our preparation strategies. Reminding you of the syllabus that we take into coverage. I have just given you the analysis. Physical, geography of India and world, weightage declined, significantly declined. Social, economic, geography of India and world, that tends to overlap with this economic and social development with sustainable development. It's very difficult for us to clear the boundary line for them. So if I box them together, they are continuously increasing in their weightage of the number of questions and the consistent most player which we prepare in our study. I just talked about, do not require content specialization, but we are getting the questions which is asking me to be aware of fundamentals of ecology. And right here also, when we say, if I take the topic number 4, that is economic, social development, sustainable development, poverty, demographics, inclusion, social sector initiative, you have to focus on the defined reference of programs that are correlated. It's very difficult for me to draw the boundary line. As geographers, we do deal up with all the social sector programs. Programs are the most dynamic part. Demographics, we take into reference the demographic revolution. As geography and geographical perspective, we are not aloof of it. Technicalities of measurement of poverty may not be our consideration, but economic inclusion is our consideration. So clearly boundary line cannot be drawn, in sense that if I try to understand the reference of social economic development here and social economic geography here, it's by default giving me an overlap. And this is the segment which is continuously on increase. And that is the reason I'm saying increasing in its share equals increase in the share of dynamic or contemporary questions. You cannot be aloof of programs and policies. That is the most important part of your preparation for coming prelims. If you seriously eye 2020 prelims, be very clear of this particular part for every other topic that you take into account. And notice that when you take this into reference, you are not aloof of this. That is, normally when we talk about this overlap, we believe that it is a problem. I say it is the most positive thing that we can have in any syllabus. Drawing boundary line is difficult, agreed, but then when I am aware of things happening around me, then these automatically gets resolved. After saying all these into the reference, I will continue to give you the dedicated videos that will be helping you in your preparation. Some of them will be general for the static questions, some of them will be much specified in terms of a dedicated program or policy oriented requirement of our coming examinations. So you can certainly take note of them into your study and will be surely helpful in giving you the final revision or the fundamental understanding, whatsoever is our case. I surely want you to take the mention of, note cautiously how to go about with taking the support of the printables that we are providing for you. There are clear steps that I have mentioned here so that you are not stuck up. You need to first log on to the website, and after logging on to the website, you have to take the reference of the online test, and once you have gotten there, you need to pick up the defined login password, and you are not supposed to change them. Once you log in, you can easily attain all the printed study material, and that is all downloadable. We have already uploaded a world regional NCERT based, on which we are right now focused on. Eventually we'll get on to environment, and reason is very obvious, you all are aware of it, that our test series program is going on and you are required to get into the next test, which will be on regional geography. That is the reason you have been given regional geography as the first reference. So you need to pick up the account of these steps to download the material. Log on to the website, click on the online test, log in with step 2, and you surely will be getting all the PDF as downloadable material. In my continuation to help you with your preparation of UPSC examination, there is also the provision that we have mobilized of online test. For those who have not enrolled, they can easily download the Android app, and there are other helpful initiatives that we do take. So feel free to be in touch with us. If there is any specific problem that you are facing with any specific heads of your preparation with which we correlate our approach of study to, you can easily contact us. We are oriented towards making the things manageable for you. You are on the right track of preparation. Never lose out on the confidence that you cannot do it. We all have the capacity of taking the challenges. Only thing is, a minor jerk should not be detrimental on my efforts or on my confidence that yes, I'll be in the position of doing it. I have not oriented towards giving you any specified answers to the asked questions. I have just dedicated this orientation of ours to understand what is the weightage that we have of the topics that we concern with and what is the best way we can handle it. In the continuation, I'll be uploading few more videos of the world regional before proceeding to the environmental studies. Happy learning. All the very best to all of you.